Today's topic is diseases of betel vine, mulberry, oil palm and its management. Betel vine is a perennial evergreen creeper, a native of Malaysia and grows well in shady and moist conditions. Betel vine suffers from many root and aerial diseases, of which leaf rot caused by Phytophthora parasitica and leaf spot caused by Coleotrichum capsaicii are the most important. Coming to the mulberry, the food plant of silkworm, is cultivated in both tropical and temperate countries of the world. Mulberry is grown under a wide range of climatic conditions and is affected by a large number of diseases and pests, and many of them are of greater economic importance. In addition to the reduction of leaf yield, disease also affects the quality of the leaf. Next, coming to the oil palm. Oil palm is recognized as the highest and cheapest oil yielding crop. The major diseases causing serious economic losses are oil palm wilt, bacterial bud rot, Ganoderma bud rot and Pestalozziopsis leaf spot. The present topic will discuss on the symptoms and management of the important diseases of betel vine, mulberry and oil palm. So first of all, let's discuss some of the important diseases of betel vine. First is wilt. Causal organisms associated with the disease are Phytophthora species, Sclerotium and Fusarium species. Now let's see the symptoms of the disease. Collar region is usually infected, where white mycelial growths over the infected area of stem with small mustard seed-like sclerotia appear. Shredding of infected bark, vine wilts and totally dries off. The disease is characterized by darkening of basal stem. Soon the vine wilts, accompanied by yellowing of leaves and drooping of vines, starting from tip downwards. Infection from soil level spreads upwards, reaching second or third internode. Roots of affected plants are discolored, rotted, starting from smaller roots and spreading to the stem. This is all about the symptoms of the disease. Next, let's see about the management. Destruction of infected, diseased and dead vines. Long crop rotation with non-host crops. Deep summer plowing. Green manuring before planting. Application of Trichoderma viridi. There is 2 kg mixed in 50 kg of farmyard manure. Drenching of the soil with 1% Bordeaux mixture. This is about the management of the disease. Next important disease is the anthracnose or leaf spot or marginal blight. Causal organism is Coleotrichum capsaicii. Now let's see about the etiology of the disease. The fungus produces large numbers of acervuli containing short hyaline conidiophores and black colored setae. The conidia are single-celled, hyaline and falcate. Now let's see about the symptoms of the disease. The leaves show small black circular spots, initially which later enlarges and increases up to 2 cm in size, become concentric and covered with a yellow halo. The affected leaves turn pale yellow and dry up with large black dots in the center of the spots. Marginal leaf tissues becomes black, necrotic, and gradually spreads towards the center. Circular black lesions may girdle the stem, culminating in death of the vine. Next is the epidemiology of the disease. The fungus remains in the infected plant debris in the field. The primary infection is through the soil-borne conidia spread by rainwater splash or splash irrigation. The secondary spread in the field is aided by airborne conidia. Next is the management of the disease. Collecting and destroying of the infected vines and leaves. Spraying of 0.2% Giram or 0.5% body mixture after plucking the leaves. Next important disease is the foot rot and leaf rot. Causal organism is Phytophthora parasitica variety Piperina. The pathogen is found to occur during winter months, that is September to February, and attacks root, stem and leaves. Now let's see about the symptoms of the disease. In leaf symptom, a circular black or brown spot appears on leaf and develops wet rot covering major portions of the leaf. Usually, symptoms appear most on the matured leaves near the soil, and the rot extends to the petiole and stem. Affected leaves fall off prematurely. At the initial stages of infection, finer young root in foot region gets rotted and soft tissues of old roots and internodal portion of the vines also rot, leaving only the sticky fibrous portion which emits a fishy odor. Under severe conditions, plants droop and leads to death of the plant. Next is the epidemiology of the disease. The fungus is mainly soil-borne and is also spread through irrigation water and collateral host. The secondary spread is through the sporangia produced on the leaves. The pathogen survives in the soil and crop debris as oospores and chlamydospores. Low temperature, that is 23 degrees centigrade and below, and high relative humidity favor the spread of the disease. Next is the management. Collection, removal and destruction of infected plants and plant parts. Frequency of irrigation should be reduced during cold weather period. Clean cultivation and alternate cropping. Soil drenching with 0.5% body mixture at monthly intervals at the rate 500 ml per hill. Application of neem cake or neem cake urea at the rate 150 kg nitrogen per hectare per year near the root zone. This is about the management of the disease. Next is the powdery mildew disease. Causal organism is Oidium piperis. Now let's see the symptoms of the disease. The disease occurs on the tender shoots and leaves and affects the crop at all stages of its growth. Correspondingly, the upper leaf surface shows yellowish irregular patches. The affected leaves get shriveled, deformed and shed from the vines. White powdery growth of the fungus appears on the leaves and stem. Next is epidemiology. The fungus is mainly airborne. The spores of the fungus also carried through irrigation water. It survives in crop debris in the soil. Dry, humid weather favors the development, that is during the period of May to July. Next is the management of the disease. Affected leaves should be removed and burnt. Sulfur dusting at the rate 25 kg per hectare or spraying wettable sulfur at the rate 0.2% at monthly interval helps to reduce the disease incidence. Next disease is the bacterial leaf spot or stem rot. Causal organism of the disease is Xanthomonas campestris, Pathova, Betel. Now coming to the symptoms of the disease. Symptoms appears on leaves and stem of betel vine during wet weather. The disease starts as minute, small brown water-soaked spots on leaves surrounded by yellow halo, which later increase in size and become necrotic that confine to the interveinal space, giving angular in shape. Next is epidemiology. The infected leaves and stems serves as source of inoculum. The bacterium enters through the injuries and stomata. It also spreads through irrigation water when splash irrigation is given. Cloudy weather with high humidity coupled with intermittent rain favors the disease development. Next is the management of the disease. Affected leaves should be removed and destroyed. Infected vines should be removed and burnt. Spraying body mixture at the rate 0.25% with 0.05% streptocycline should be done after harvesting the leaves. Next is the common diseases of mulberry. First is leaf spot disease. Causal organism is Cercospora moricola. The symptoms of the disease are the appearance of small brownish irregular spots on the leaves in the initial stages. As the disease becomes severe, the spots enlarge, coalesce, and short holes are formed. Severely affected leaves become yellowish and fall off prematurely. Now let's see the management of the disease. Leaf spot disease can be controlled by spraying systemic fungicide such as Babistin 50 WP at the rate 0.1%. Varieties like Convert 2, S54, MR2, Jodhpur, Paraguay and Almora local are resistant to this disease. Next important disease is the powdery mildew. The causal organism of the disease is Phylactinia corylea. Now let's see the symptom of the disease. This disease can be easily identified by the appearance of white powdery patches on the lower surface of leaves. As the disease advances, the patches spreads to entire leaf surface and turn blackish color. Now let's see how to manage this disease. Selection of mildew resistant varieties. Provide wider spacing so that there will be sufficient sunlight and movement of air in the garden. Spraying of Carathen or bavistin is effective for the control of the disease. The leaves can be fed to silkworm after 10 days of spraying. Varietal resistance. Resistant varieties such as Mandalaya, China White, Jodhpur, Punjab Local, MR2, Almora Local are found to be resistant. Next important disease is the leaf rust. The causal organism is Cerotelium fici. Now let's see the symptoms of the disease. The pathogen produces numerous pinhead size circular to oval, brownish to black, eruptive lesions or spots on the surface of the leaves. The affected leaves become yellowish, and as the disease becomes severe, the leaves wither off prematurely. Now let's see how to manage the disease. Wider spacing reduces the disease. Spraying suitable fungicide like Kavach or Foltaf helps in controlling the disease. Leaves can be used after 10 to 12 days of spraying safely to silkworms. Next is most common diseases of oil palm. And here the most important disease is Pestalozziopsis leaf spot, and the causal organism is Pestalozziopsis species. Now let's see the symptoms of the disease. Tiny black spots on leaves which enlarge up to 2 mm long, elliptical and elongated lesions. Lesions may expand and be surrounded by black tissue and chlorosis between lesions. Lesions may also appear on leaf petioles and rachis. Next is the management of the disease. If palm is severely diseased, it should be removed from plantation and destroyed. Palms should be planted with adequate spacing to allow air to circulate between trees. Remove weeds around the palms. Application of appropriate broad spectrum foliar fungicide can help to protect the palms from disease. Next is the Ganoderma bud rot. The causal organism is Ganoderma species. Now let's see the symptoms of the disease. Reduced growth of palm, pale green foliage, older fronds turning chlorotic and necrotic, drooping fronds on mature oil palm, spear leaves do not open. Seedlings may exhibit a one-sided chlorosis or necrosis of lower fronds. Cross-section of lower portion of trunk reveal a discoloration and softening of the central area, and a distinct boundary is present between healthy and diseased tissue. Now let's see the management of the disease. Remove the dead palms. Do not replant palm in soil where an infected palm has been removed. Next important disease is the bacterial bud rot, and the causal organism is Harwinia species. Now let's see the symptoms of the disease. Parts of spear leaf petiole turns brown. Discoloration may be associated with a wet rot. Spear leaf may be wilted and or chlorotic. Leaves may collapse and hanging from the crown. Infection of the bud results in buds rotten and putrid. leading to the death of the palm. Now let's see the management of the disease. Plant oil palm varieties resistance to the bacteria. Rotting tissues on spear leaves should be removed to prevent bacteria spreading to buds. Palm buds can be protected using copper-based fungicides. Next important disease is oil palm wilt. The causal organism is Fusarium oxysporum. Now let's see the symptoms of the disease. Symptoms of the disease vary with age of host. Disease can affect seedlings and mature trees. Seedlings exhibit retarded growth, reduced leaf size, chlorosis of older leaves, and tip necrosis. In older palms, lower leaves wilt and dry out, and fronds break close to the base of the trunk. New fronds are chlorotic and stunted. The palm shows decline on one side and develops symptoms in the lower canopy. Infection spreads rapidly upwards and infects the bud, killing the palm. Next is the management of the disease. International quarantine procedures have limited the spread of the disease between major palm oil producing countries. Dead or dying trees should be chopped and burned to prevent spread in plantations. New palms should be planted at a distance of 3.9 meter from infested stump. Soil within a 3 meter radius of infested stumps should be treated with copper-based fungicide and covered for a period of 30 days. Next, coming to the conclusion of the topic. Betel vine, mulberry and oil palm are the important crops in terms of economically and also commercially. But due to several biotic and abiotic factors, their production is hampered. Effective control measures based on the application of various chemicals have been devised for the leaf diseases. But other than precautionary cultural operations, there are no such effective and practical control measures for the root and stem diseases. Management of these diseases depends on the proper diagnosis of the disease, understanding of the source of infection, time of disease appearance, survival and other epidemiological factors.